Hello, everyone. Welcome to week two's housekeeping video. We're going to go over what's on store for week two in the statistics course and answer any typical frequently asked questions that you'd have coming into week two. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So what we're going to cover inside the housekeeping items, what do you need to do this week? We'll talk about your first written assignment that's due, and we'll go over what's involved with that. We'll talk about the late assignment policy, as well as feedback, what you currently should or will be seeing inside the class portal gradebook, my availability during the week, some successful tips in terms of the learning environment being successful inside the class, and then point you to, for the challenge activities for week two, the respective announcement where you can go see the step-by-step process, as well as from zyBook's perspective, we'll cover what needs to be clicked to ensure that the grades are transferred from zyBooks into the class portal. So we'll cover all that here inside the presentation. So what's on your plate for this week? Review the module resources. We'll do that later on inside the presentation as well. You have a series of participation and challenge activities for week two. So we'll take a look at that. And then your week two assignment you will need to submit. Now, we will talk in the late assignment policy. You do have a 2-week window to get that in inside of week two or week three, but we'll address that later on here. So late assignment policy, I covered this the first week, but just to reiterate, any of the zyBook assignments. So if you didn't finish something week one and now you're inside of week two, that all of the zyBook assignments, the participation and challenge activities, are open for the entire 8 weeks of the respective course. So you can go in at an unlimited amount of times to maximize the score on any of the participation and the challenge activities. And there is no late penalty that's applied to those. So throughout the 8 weeks, you can go in and do those participation and challenge activities to maximize your score. Week one, we had a discussion forum that is now closed. From a week two's perspective, week 6 and 8 will be the next time that those come along. And this is probably the most rigid component inside the class. Discussion forum posts are only allowed in the week they are assigned. So if you go in and make posts during week two, back from week one's discussion, unfortunately, they will not count for points on those. So we'll talk about when that feedback is going to be available in that week one discussion later on here inside the presentation. So the written assignments, week two opens up this week. You do have until the end of week three. And just as a reminder, I do not apply the standard 10% late policy on any components inside the class. So I give you the full 2 weeks on any written assignments, and you have the full 8 weeks on the challenge and participation activities inside the zyBook. But you do have the full 2 weeks with any life happens events, allows you to get that first assignment. We'll talk more in detail once we go into the class portal in terms of that first assignment. Now, if there's an exception needs to be made, that would be an extenuating circumstance, such as hospitalization, death in the family, etc. You would send me an email and we talk on that on a case-by-case basis. Now, if it's the end of week three and you're saying, Mike, I just ran out of time, unfortunately, that's not going to be grounds for an extension. So I try to be as flexible as possible. However, we still need to fall inside the constraints of what's to be expected each week inside of the course. All right. We mentioned participation in challenge activities. By doing the initial step, we're going to talk about later on inside the course, you have to click on the given links, and I'll demonstrate that again this week. From week two's or module two's perspective, you need to make sure that that is clicked at least one time so that the scores are synced between the two. And I'll demonstrate that later on here. You'll be looking for a demonstration of the challenge activity. I'll show where that's at later on here inside the presentation. And then the demonstration of the zyBook, making sure that you go through and complete all participation and challenge activities. All right. So what should be out inside the grade book? By Tuesday of week 2, odds are probably sometime Monday morning, but at the latest Tuesday of week 2, you should see the feedback on your first discussion forums. And again, a rubric will be filled out. I will be making comments to address what you did right, what you needed to improve on relative to the discussion forums, ensuring that you address all components that were out there relative to the discussion forum. So you should see that. Any progress on week 1 through week 2's challenge and participation activities, as you open those up and you do that initial link or sync between the Zybook and the class portal, those scores will automatically be updated. And again, if you go back to the week 1 housekeeping, I show that underlying process. But again, I will show that additional component from week 2's perspective as well. My contact information, just as a reminder, email is the best way to get a hold of me during the week. My benchmark is to get back with you within 24 hours. Typically, it's going to be faster on Monday through Friday and Saturday morning, that I will respond within 24 hours, if not faster. I do have the Google phone number that's listed there. Just as an FYI, that does go directly to voicemail. You would leave your phone number, and then eventually I would contact you back within that 24-hour perspective. Now, the exception to that is on Sundays. If you send something Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, odds are you're probably not going to get a response until Monday morning. I typically facilitate classes Monday through Saturday, but I have to have a day off during the week. That's my life happens events. And typically Sunday is the day that I step away from any facilitation inside the course. So just keep that in mind. If you send something on a Sunday, you may not get a response until sometime Monday morning. Now, if for some reason there's going to be a delay, I will post an announcement out on the class portal. Hey, I won't be available on a Wednesday. You won't get a response until Thursday. That should be an anomaly or an exception. Normally, like I said, I'm very quick to respond to any questions or concerns that you have during the scope of the course. And then last but not least, address this the first week, but just to reiterate, if you have not reviewed the syllabus as of yet, please go out and look at that. If there's questions on the expectations of the course, don't hesitate to send me an email or leave me a voicemail. I'll be more than willing to clarify that. Please spread out the work during the scope of the class. If you're looking at that first written assignment, take a look at it Monday or Tuesday of this week. That way you have the full 2 weeks to digest. And if there's anything that comes across that you have an issue with, we can address it throughout the week. Waiting until Sunday of week 3, and it's 10 o'clock Eastern time, odds are I'm not going to be able to address any questions or concerns if you're waiting until the last minute. So please be proactive, establish some time management throughout the week or throughout the weeks of the course so that you can be successful and you're not waiting until Sunday night to complete that. And again, I totally get life happens, events with kids, jobs, significant other, etc. That sometimes maybe the weekends may be the only time you have. But again, waiting until Sunday night's not going to be conducive because I'm not going to be able to respond at 10:30 at night on a Sunday. So please keep that in mind. Again, work throughout the week so you can be successful throughout the course. And again, if you got questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. I'm more than willing to clarify things and help out as much as possible to be successful inside the course. So we're going to go back to the class portal. I'm going to demonstrate some stuff relative to week or module 2. Okay, I'm inside of the applied statistics class. If you're watching the video, this may not be your exact class. However, this is the same class portal for any MA240 class that's out there. So what I want to do, I want to go into week 2. So I'm going to go into course modules and learning modules. And then once this opens up, I'm going to click on module 2 since we're demonstrating week 2 here at this point. First thing that I'm going to want to point to your attention is the participation activity and the challenge activities. For your score to sync from Zybooks into the class portal, you must click on this link once, and you must click on this link once. Even if you open it up some other method, you have to do this one time at least for the participation activities and the challenge activities. So once you do the click on this and you do the click on that, this will then start syncing the grades between Zybook and the class portal for these assignments. So again, from 2-1's perspective, I click on the participation activities. You're going to notice, as soon as this loads, takes a second or two here. So you'll be prompted with the first section at 2.1. And the one thing that I want you to keep in mind, if you come up to the hamburger up here in the upper left-hand corner, this is going to show 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. Everything, all participation and challenge activities have to be done from section 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. Again, just as I scroll down here, you're going to want to make sure that you've got an orange check mark here, identifying you've completed all of those. And if it's a challenge activity, any blue check mark, identifying you completed those. So as you continue to progress through a participation and challenge activities, the scores will be updated as long as you've clicked on those 2 links that I pointed out earlier here inside this presentation. And that has to be done each week. For week 1, you have to click on those 2 links. Week 2, those 2 links, and you're going to do the same thing in week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you don't do that, yes, it's going to keep the material inside the Zybook if you start clicking over here on the left, but the scores are not going to transfer. You have to do that initial step to start the sync process for each participation and challenge activity for each week or module. So again, you've got 3 sections this week. All the participation and challenge activities get you to full credit by doing these items over here. So that from a week 2 perspective. And then I'm going to come back to module 2. Let's take a look at this first written assignment. You're going to be doing some descriptive statistics inside of this respective assignment. So just an FYI, you have to complete this link here first, which is an integrity statement. This is basically an agreement between the university, instructor, and adult learner stating that you've reviewed the requirements of the rubric of the assignment, and any plagiarism items, etc. Please review that as well in terms of the expectations of doing your own work as you're going through. So I'm going to pull up this requirements and rubric link and show you what's going on here. So inside the assignment, you're going to have this Word document template. So you'll want to ensure that you open up this guy here. When you go to submit this assignment, this is what you're going to end up utilizing after you click Enable Editing. It's going to tell you to make sure that all components are addressed, that you've done an introduction, the instructions of the representative data sample, data analysis, scatter plot, etc. All of these components need to be identified. It's going to tell you inside here what needs to be included on each of these parts. So you use this template, and then you save your own version. You'll do a file save as inside of Word, and you'll end up utilizing this in terms of submitting that first written assignment. So I'm expecting this template to be used so that you've identified all the respective components when you turn that in. So that's going to be available to you. And I'm going to close this out here. You'll notice there's also a spreadsheet. Now, to backtrack, this is going to be one of the first times you're going to see Microsoft Excel. Excel is included as part of your tuition at the university. You'll notice if I scroll down here, there is a link, this PDF that's listed here, that will go through the process of getting Office 365. Now, Office 365 is going to include Microsoft Word as well as Microsoft Excel. You will need both of these throughout the scope of the class. So you'll want to ensure that you get this installed on your respective PC. It does work on a PC and Mac. Chromebook, it will not work, unfortunately. So you need to be either on a Windows PC or a Mac operating system for this to work, to utilize this. Google Sheets and Google Docs is not supported inside of the class, unfortunately. So you do need to be on a Windows or a Mac operating system to be able to utilize what we're discussing inside the course in any of the demonstration using Excel. So Google Sheets or any other third-party spreadsheet or word processor is not going to be supported inside of the course. So if you are having issues getting that installed on your PC or device, you will need to contact technical support and they will walk you through that underlying process. So coming back here, so there's going to be a demonstration there. So each of the components, you're going to generate a representative sample. You're going to analyze that respective sample. And again, terminology of this is going to be covered inside the Zybook as well. But the nice thing that's inside here, and this is going to be very helpful, you'll notice here, you have a demonstration of the step-by-step process inside this video. So if you click on that link, and I'm not going to play this here, it's going to open up a YouTube video that's going to demonstrate that step-by-step process of completing the assignment. So I strongly encourage you to utilize that resource as you're going through these items. So again, you want to make sure that you identify all of the components, use that template, the Word document template, to create your assignment and copy and paste as accordingly, but it's going to go through all of that process that's listed there. And I am expecting as a submission, you're going to submit that Word document when you go to upload using the assignment link for this particular assignment. There's also some other respective things in terms of random sampling, scatter plots, and descriptive statistics, how to do these guys. They also will talk about something called an analysis tool pack. And again, this is going to be demonstrated inside the video that you are going to need to do descriptive statistics. If there's questions on that, don't hesitate to reach out to me, but it is demonstrated inside these PDFs as well as inside this video on what needs to be done to invoke that add-in inside of Excel. So you've got that information there. Rubric's going to identify how this assignment is graded. So typically speaking, if you've identified all the components, that's going to either be exemplary or proficient. If there's some respective errors there, your equation's not right, calculations not right, etc., it's either going to fall proficient, or if it's out in left field and I have no idea what you did with it, it's probably going to fall into needs improvement. And if you didn't complete the component, obviously it's assessed as not evident. So the rubric is how your score is going to be assessed from this written assignment that's out there. So if there's questions, don't hesitate to reach out on that. This completes the demonstration of the week 2 housekeeping. If you have any questions as you're going through the assignment or the reading or the participation challenge activities inside the Zybook, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great week.